Chapter 12. The Grand Finale. Or is it? Mr. P let out a big sigh of frustration. I wish to be alone, but you memories continue to torture me. You are just as stubborn as I was when I tried to save my wife. But this time, I will stop you, as I should have stopped myself. His other arm was upgraded to a laser gun over the course of these few days and aimed it at us. Whoa. You do realize you're holding minors at gunpoint, right? Grace asked. Mr. P laughed. You guys aren't real, so it's not going to affect anyone. Us three looked at the end of the hallway and there was an open space of more hallways. We need to find something to make him snap out of it, I said to Grace and Georgie. But first, we need to get him off our tails. Georgie, are you up to keeping Mr. P busy? He nodded. Alright, then. Grace, let's go. Hey, great man! Georgie shouted. That got his attention. Come and get me! Now's our chance, Grace said to me. With Mr. P chasing Georgie down, probably trying to obliterate him with his gun, Grace and I dashed for the red hallway as the orange and green ones required their certain keycard to open it. Grace found the green keycard and right key, and I was able to find the orange one. Right as I grabbed the card, Grace was screaming and running for her life. I didn't know from what, but I could assume that it was infected. I could infer that she also went to her designated hallway, so I went to mine and opened up the door to see a few compartments and a lower floor. In the middle of both floors there was also a space filled with acid. I took extra precautions to make sure I wouldn't fall down there. I went to check the rooms for any items and I was able to find a gold key. The only assumption was that the gold safe was downstairs. I rushed down and looked for the safe, hoping that Mr. P wasn't on my tail, and even worse, and infected. I went to a room that was divided into two sections due to a ravine filled with acid. Placed the plank down to safely cross over and retrieve the hammer. Then I dashed over to the doors that were boarded up, broke it down, and walked through a mine filled with green crystals. At the end of it, I was also able to find a green test tube, and I assumed that was one of the vital items needed to escape this facility. I ran out of that area and I went to the other side of the green room to check if Grace was doing okay. The last I heard from her was that she was screaming and running for her life as she went to open up her section, so I could only hope for the best. I went to the red hallway and went to set the green vial down, then head to Grace's locations in hopes that she isn't dead. Fortunately, Georgie was still distracting Mr. P after 7 minutes had gone by and was buying us a lot of time. I sprinted over to the green room to see Grace running around the area in a circle because there was an infected badger chasing her, planning to incinerate her with its acid stick. Grace, are you okay? I asked, filled with concern as she runs around screaming for her life. I see that she's holding a battery, and there's a contraption in the building closest to my right that needs batteries. No, I'm not okay. Thanks for noticing, she said, continuing to run about the place. This badger had the audacity to chase me the whole time I've been here, and I haven't been able to get anything done. Do you need me to distract them for you to get the vial? I asked her. She nodded immediately as I spread my wings and took to the skies. Hey, toxic polar bear. The badger stopped in its tracks and immediately set its eyes on me. Come and get me, or don't. I don't really care. I could assume that the badger was named Badgie, and he went at me. And the only thing I could do was fly away and taunt him because he couldn't reach me. While flying around the facility, I could see Georgie fighting Mr. P with a bat. It was surprising enough to know that he was able to withstand Mr. P's laser gun. I was able to buy Grace some time and she ran out of the green room with the pink vial and rushed towards the red room. I dropped down nearby Georgie and fought back to back with him against Mr. P and Badgie. I don't exactly understand why Badgie wasn't attacking a certain potato, but it appeared to each other that they were on the same side. "What did Grace get from the vials?" Georgie yelled as he sees her running towards the center. She found a lighter in one of the drawers, lit something up, and threw it to the ground. Before I heard the hissing, I quickly knew it was a stick of dynamite. "Fire in the hole!" I shouted. It exploded. We were all blown back, including Badgie and Mr. P. We opened our eyes to see the plant. Except, it was different. The hallways turned into rooms, and if I'm being completely honest, those rooms kinda looked like areas that I'd been to before. The doorways now had weird, corrupted walls with cracks in them. Even more so, Georgie was gone. "What the heck?" I said. "What is this, Polar?" Grace asked me. Now I knew I wasn't crazy. She was seeing this too, unless this was just shared hallucinations. If that were the case, Georgie would be here to see us, with us to see this. But now Badgie and Mr. P were still chasing us, and now we had to find our way through this distorted plant. "Grace, can you distract them in the meantime? I'll get things done," I asked. She nodded and tried to get their attention. I then ran into the room that was behind me, that being the carnival? But how is it here? The hammer event was here, and there was a coin on the bench next to it. I grabbed the coin and rocked around the plant, wondering where it went. Then I saw a spiritual fire appear in front of me. I turned around and saw Ghost Bunny running straight for me. Didn't have time to get out of the way, and she grabbed my shins, preventing me from moving. When she disappeared, I looked again at the rooms and saw the metro. So I went in there, and luckily the vending machine was there to input the coin. Shortly after, I saw a torch on the bench, which interpreted the fact that the cave from the forest is here too. I grabbed the torch, ran out of the metro, and walked straight to the cave to light the campfire and thaw the ice block. When it was lit, the ice block melted and revealed the white key. I could only think of one more place where it could go, the room I haven't gone in yet. I walked into what seemed to be the school cafeteria, and Grace ran around the tables with Badgie and Mr. P chasing her. I quickly rushed to the safe on one of the tables, open it, and then get the second coin. I ran back to the metro to insert the coin, and what came out was the mallet for the carnival hammer event. Inputting more running, I hit the jackpot and won a photo of Miss P. Wait, this must be what Mr. P needs to snap out of it. I ran back to the school cafeteria, found Mr. P, and gave him the photo. He then ran back to the middle of the plant, then looked at it again, and knelt down to have his final say. "It's all coming back to me. I'm sorry," he finally said. Grace and I stood in confusion. Mr. P took a while to recollect himself, but he eventually spoke. "I left the hospital with researchers when I thought that you were infected, Polar. They helped me to protect myself, and now I look like this. No matter how much they changed me, nothing could protect me from my mistakes." Georgie stood alongside Grace, wielding his bat in an angry manner. "Finally, you know we're real," he shouted. "Now, tell me what you did to my family." "They wanted to help me with my research," he continued. Georgie's anger increased. "You took them away from me. You hurt them," he yelled. "Now I am going to hurt you." This was going a bit too far. "Georgie, don't do it," Grace warned him. "If you hurt him, you are no better than him. It will only turn you into what you hate the most in him." Georgie looked at Grace, then lowered his bat. "I guess you're right." He eventually submitted to not using violence as the answer. "You need to leave now. It's not safe here," Mr. P warned. "He's right. This place is infested," I agreed. "I'll fight the infected here until I drop. It's time I try to redeem myself." Good luck, Mr. P, I told him. Georgie began walking out to the exit of the plant. Let's meet up with Zizzy and Pony. Are you guys coming? Georgie asked. I look at Georgie, then at Mr. P. Grace stays with Georgie while I need more time to reflect on this. This was my war with a certain cyborg potato. I walk over to him. I know there's something that you haven't told me yet. I say to him, I want to tell you my story, but you wouldn't believe me, he said. Speak up, Potato Man, I said. I need to know what happened. Everything that happened. Mr. P sighs. Then you must leave after. He instructs. I'm afraid there isn't much time. Whatever you say, I tell him. I just want to know why the world has gotten to this kind of state. Mr. P takes a deep breath, then begins to tell the tale. I was developing a cure to the sickness that my wife, Miss P, had. I put in all my time and money into saving her. I even rushed to the doctors to test the supposed cure. They kept telling me that the sample was unstable, but I didn't listen, and I needed volunteers. Then came the Piggy family, all but Georgie. They wanted to help. The initial results were significant. They became stronger. I was overjoyed, so I gave it to Miss P immediately. She was getting better, until we heard news that the Piggy family started becoming hostile. I thought it had nothing to do with my cure, but eventually, Miss P became aggressive too. The last I saw her, she had red eyes. I had to stop her, but I didn't have the heart to, so I just let her go. I tried again to make cures. Then you came along. We found signs of the infection within you, but you were still alive. Before we could do more research, the hospital we were at was raided, and Bunny was attacked. I gave her another rush cure thinking it would save her. I realized what I had done, and left you two. There you have it. That is my selfish, sorrowful story. That was a lot to take in, so I just kept it short and sweet. Thank you for telling me, Mr. P. We won't forget you. Good luck, you three. Grace and Georgie were ahead, so I just caught up with them as we exited the plant. Pony stabbed the soldier and kicked them down into the ground, that in which it phased through after death. Him and Zizzy turned to see us. Oh, you three are finally back, Pony exclaimed. We took care of the soldiers. What about you? I looked at him, with the best grin I could give him. We stopped Mr. P. He's no longer a threat, I said. Zizzy smiled. Great job, you guys, she said. I knew you could do it. The five of us just stood in silence. Wait, where's Torture? I asked. He ran off with an infected soldier. Zizzy said, I think he has something for that one. But he didn't stick around to say goodbye? Sadly, no. But I think that we'll see him again, Zizzy said. It went back to being silent. I hate to ruin the moment, but Pony began. Where do we go from here? I could say that everyone else was just as dumbfounded towards this question as I was. Georgie's face lit up. I've got an idea, he said. What if we look for a cure? Agreeing to this idea, we all walked back to the safe place to share this news with the others. This honestly was going to tell me that we wouldn't have to be making these major adventures for a while. When we got home and told the others, they were just as ecstatic as we were. The motion still stands to now find a cure to save our infected loved ones. Bunny, Doggy, Georgie's family. Maybe even more. I just knew that with the 9 of us working together, we could accomplish anything. This marks the end of an era. Finn.